Thank you everybody for being here. Everybody have a chance to take a look at the minutes?
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Let's see, item number 3, public hearing and discussion and possible action on a request by Overing Homes LLC to amend the Heritage Greens Planned Residential Development Conditional Use Permit to change areas designated for limited residential and commercial to 1 and 2 family residences, outlots 4 and 6, plat of Heritage Markets, Overing Homes LLC. Anybody like to comment on this?
I'm in favor of the change to 1 to 2 family.
Would you please come up here, state your name, address?
Barbara
Up
Sutherland.
to
At the
the
mic,
podium,
please.
please. Yep. Formal.
My name is Barbara Sutherland. My address is 26 Heritage Green, and I live in the area that we're speaking about, and I think it would be much more appealing to have 1 and 2 family home residence than a large apartment building.
Thank you.
I'm Russell Nicolay. I live in Heritage Greens, but I'm also on the ARC, the Architectural Review Committee. And so, first I'll just speak from that aspect. We do like the idea of single-family homes in the neighborhood. You probably have seen the neighborhood, as I have, change over the years, and it's headed in a really good direction. It's a very strong neighborhood. But it's taken a lot from the builders, the neighbors, and us at the ARC to get it there. And so when the ARC is composed of myself, Jody Hawk, who's on her way here, she's not here yet, and Nick Hackworthy. But when we reviewed this, and Nick is here as well, but Jody and I went over this, so I kind of speak for Jody and myself, and then the ARC in general, that we have some concerns with this layout and specifically with the builder on this proposed change. We have gone through and done our best as an ARC to really keep the fit and feel and the character of this neighborhood. And we've had some ups and downs. We've had different builders come and go. And currently we have Creative doing quite a bit of homes there. They've done an excellent job, and they've been really willing to work with us and willing to listen to what we have to say, take our recommendations, and then also we do butt heads with them, but they're willing to sit down and make compromises as need be. However, in the past, we've had Overing Homes come in and do some homes in the neighborhood, and we've not had that same experience with them. We've had things as far as, I'll just be straightforward with Overing basically telling one of us to go pound sand. We've had things that haven't been finished. Our recommendations, the covenants have not been followed. And so what we see is a big concern. Now we're having, I think he has about 4 homes in there right now, and we're gonna go to almost 8 times that here. And so it's gonna be my concern and the ARC's concern is this is gonna be something that goes on and over and over and over. And the problem that it causes, besides the fact that it just puts a lot of stress and work on us as ARC volunteers, we're not paid, is that then we, in the past, have had to deal with, from Overing Homes, the homeowners are left to carry the baggage from this. They're left to deal with the sod not being planted or being laid, and us having to find them or send them letters and deal with that. Mailboxes not being put in, things like that, light posts not included. And that's a concern when you have 4 homes, but now when you multiply that, that's a huge concern. And the problem we have is, so if this goes through and Overing Home takes over, they can say, yeah, we're gonna listen, we're gonna follow. But once they take over and own those lots and they have this plan accepted, now we have to deal with it. And if it's gonna be like it was in the past, it's gonna be a big headache. I mean, that's a lot more volunteer time from us at the ARC that eventually will be more and more of a budget strain on us and our legal fees, because at this point, we are in a position where we have worked very hard to get the neighborhood where it is, and we're gonna fight to keep it there. And the only way to do that, if the behavior from the past continues, is we're going to have to involve council. And so, from our point, then that drains the fees that we've worked so hard in the positive balance we have for the neighborhood that we've worked so hard to get together. We're going to drain that. It's going to become a problem. And so we're really concerned about that because it's just been a habit. And then on top of that, the homes that are designed from Overeem in the past, they do not really meet the fit and feel and the character of the neighborhood. And you can tell, and it's hard for me to say this because we have neighbors that have those homes, but those homes don't flow well with the rest of the neighborhood. We did our best in the past to work with Overeem and work with other builders, especially with the recession when we knew that there was different price points, there was different pressures for the builders and the neighbors. And we did the best we could to compromise to get those homes up to where we would let them in, but to deal with that many homes like that is going to be a concern for us. And recently we had a home that we approved. It's in a section, in a row home that they created, and the neighbors are not happy with us about it. Many of them refer to it as the double wide in the neighborhood, and that's a row home that he built that they'll be continuing to build. It may be a little bit different, but you can tell which homes are theirs, and that's the concern that we have, is that, one, the lack of cooperation and just the complete disregard and disrespect of the covenants and the arc in the past, and then two, what's the fit and feel, what's the finish of this neighborhood going to look like when these homes are strewn about everywhere? It's just, we're trying to go with the concept that I think this neighborhood was initially created around, which was that the old Main Street, the old feel, the unique feel, the boulevards, the sidewalks, and that takes some work on behalf of the builders and some compromises and some willingness to say, I may not make the biggest profit on this home, but I'm going to do what was right with the neighborhood and what's with the character. And we have big concerns about that. And so that's me on behalf of the ARC saying, we're very concerned, and for that reason, we're not in favor of this. Number two, as a homeowner there, I own a home at 14 Friends Keep Green, and then I also own 2 lots in that neighborhood. I live there now, and I have my home, and I plan on eventually building on my lots, and I want to see the neighborhood stay in line with where it's been headed. The housing prices have gone up in there. We're getting back to those more unique craftsmanship types homes that were there in the past, and I want to see that continue. And when I see the plan, which to me looks like it's going to be cookie cutter, cookie cutter, cookie cutter, that's not where this neighborhood is headed. It's not what the plan was for the neighborhood, and it's a big concern for me as a neighbor. And that's something that I heard echoed over from neighbor to neighbor to neighbor based on the homes that have already been built by Overeem in the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're still in public hearing.
Hi, I'm Leah Isaacson. I live at 103 Tribute Avenue in Heritage Greens, and I've been there with my husband Ian for the past 4 years. I also serve as the president of the Heritage Greens Single Family Homeowners Association, as well as the Master Association in Heritage Greens. And I would like to echo the concerns that Mr. Nicolay just raised. We've had an issue in the past with this builder. We've had very unhappy homeowners that the board has been left to deal with. One in particular had their mailbox left at the end of their driveway in an orange Home Depot 5-gallon pail. And we were sending violation letters to that homeowner because the builder wouldn't comply. We've had other situations where we've been in the position of the homeowner threatening legal action against our board because this builder didn't comply and was not in line with the covenants. We have very specific restrictions on the fit and feel of the homes. We have requirements such as light posts and a uniform mailbox, sodding the yard, a certain amount of the home's budget that needs to be spent on landscaping. This has not been done by this builder. And as well as the ARC dealing with these problems, the single family board has had to deal with them as well. I would also like to address a concern with this plan as far as the private drives that are listed to access these homes. There's nowhere else in our neighborhood where we have private drives accessing single-family homes. We have a few private streets. Linden is one, and those service the twin homes, and there's another section where the townhomes have private drives. They're responsible for maintaining those roads, for doing the snow removal. Those sub-associations pay separate dues. Our single-family dues are about $135 a quarter. Those sub-associations pay about that much per month for those landscaping and snow removal services. What we're concerned about with this plan is you've got 26 potential single-family homes here, accessed by private drives, and we do not want the single-family dues to be raised to cover the cost of maintaining these private drives. Not only that, as I'm sure you've been aware of, seeing builders come and go in Heritage Greens and the way that the neighborhood is shaped up over the last few years, our homeowners association was not in a good financial position years ago. It wasn't until the last 2 years or so when we finally, have been steadily in the black. We're actually in a position for the single-family homes to either make some serious investments into the neighborhood and infrastructure, which we're putting in a new playground. We're also looking at a potential dues reduction or dues holiday for the single-family homeowners that would allow us to still meet our dues to the Heritage Greens Master Association. What we're concerned about is the potential of having to raise dues or to forego these projects to cover the costs that would be incurred with respect to these private drives in this area here. Not only that, as Mr. Nicolay mentioned, legal fees are a concern. We've gotten to the point with some of these complaints where it's being nice with the homeowner or cooperating necessarily with the builder and trusting their word has not proven to be effective. We may be in a position where we might start placing liens on some of these properties and really having to litigate to make sure that we maintain the integrity of our neighborhood. We do not have a large budget for legal fees. We don't want our homeowners to have to bear the burden of paying for legal fees for a builder that isn't going to comply. And I'd respectfully request that you deny this petition. We're in favor of single-family homes there. We're in favor of twin homes in that area, but not on this plan. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Nick Hackworthy. You guys have probably seen me up here before. I'm with Creative Homes. I have a lot of history in the neighborhood, as some of you guys are aware of. I apologize, I'm just trying to grab my notes. So my history with Heritage Greens dates back to 2008. I was fresh out of college, and this was really kind of the first project that I began working on. 2008, I was on the board for the Heritage Greens Single Family and Master Associations, and also some of the other sub-associations. I was involved with the architecture review process. At the time, I was, in 2008, had also developed the very south end where the subject parcel is. I was the one that was involved with putting in the infrastructure and the parks and the amenities on the south end. I've been involved with the management of the neighborhood. There was times when there was a time that when the neighborhood finances were struggling, that not only did myself and some of my family provide some of the management service of the neighborhood, we also provided some of the maintenance of the neighborhood. I remember the couple winters that I was out there plowing the sidewalks in front of the common areas because the association didn't have the funds to pay for it. And now most recently in the last 3 years, I've become a home builder in the neighborhood. My company, Creative Homes, has built approximately 70 houses in Heritage Greens. So my history for this neighborhood is far-stretching. My father was the original developer of it. It's a neighborhood that I can literally say I've put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into the last 8+ years in various forms. We've seen a lot of change throughout the neighborhood. We've, with the different roles that I've been in, I've been responsible with the management, the collecting of dues, the enforcement of rules, the approval of city entitlements, the approval of commercial development within the neighborhood, the approval of lower income housing projects that have gone in, single-family residential, as well as the stuff that Creative Homes has done, and have been very proud of what this neighborhood has become. I do believe that Heritage Greens is one of the premier new construction neighborhoods in Hudson. It's been going for 12 years strong, and I'm very proud of what's in the neighborhood. The neighborhood was designed to tailor to all walks of life. One of the original models was that you could be born there and you could die there. And it was to offer housing options to various types of housing. Single family, townhomes, senior, rental, low income, and I can say that we've successfully been able to tailor to all those different areas within the neighborhood. As far as the plan, the request I know is for 1 and 2 single family homes, which is, I think, a use that is a decent use. Creative Homes, we've taken our commercial property on the perimeter. I've been in front of you guys, I think, twice now in the last year, and our projects have gone very well. We converted some commercial property and we built 16 homes. The homeowners, they've been very well received. The homeowners are moving in and happy with their new homes, and we recently just completed the last street in Heritage Greens, Promise Boulevard, which is a public street. That was just finished, that we will have 9 more single-family houses on, and then we have 6 more that are on Tribute at the south end of the neighborhood.
Hey, Nick?
Yes.
I apologize, but can you get to the point, please?
Yeah. So I'm here representing my company. I'm here representing a lot of the values and the concerns I have of some of our current customers, and am concerned with the product that Overing has built a few houses in the neighborhood, and echo the comments of the 2 other, Russell Nicolay, who's on our art committee, that they've just been very difficult to work with. They haven't followed the standards of the neighborhood. They haven't followed the covenants. They haven't put, when sod's supposed to go in, seed's gone in. They haven't put in the proper size tree. It's all these little things that we've had to chase down, and it's been very frustrating. I did just want to circulate. I can circulate it at the end, just a packet of some pictures of a sampling of the houses of the neighborhood to give all you guys a feel for the neighborhood, as well as some of the most recent houses that Overing built, because I do feel that they're out of character with the neighborhood, and they have ignored the requests for change that have come from our architecture review committee over the years. This is not a project that I can support. I've supported many projects in the neighborhood with various builders of residential, commercial, and higher density housing, and I ask for you guys to deny the conditional use permit request, and I thank you guys for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'm not into public speaking, so I'll make this brief. My name is Sandy Schletz, and I live at 37 Founders Green, and I'm a board member on the Single Family Board. And I've lived in Heritage Greens for about 5 years now, and I totally love the neighborhood. And I have seen what this builder has done in our community, and have sympathized with the homeowners that he has built for. I strongly urge you to deny this petition and keep this from happening to our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm C.R. Hack. We're the original developer of Bright Keys Development Corporation and the current declarant of Heritage Greens. We started this development 18 years ago, and really fashioned it after 4 different neighborhoods we looked at across the country when we spent the 3 years on the front end of developing what this eventually has become. And a lot of time has gone into architecture, a lot of time has gone into the design of the components of the neighborhood, and what is proposed here is different than what's presently laid out on the property, which is an apartment building. But again, if an apartment building was built there, it would be built within the character of the PUD and the covenants that are laid out for this neighborhood. I'm not opposed to the change of the use. Creative has also built some other twin homes out there, as Bright Keys did, and another builder. But it's the character of the design, it's the character of the builder, and as a developer, you have to be very, very selective on who builds into a neighborhood, because it can really have a big impact. And if you really take a close look at what Overing Homes has done in the neighborhood, it's been really, really a challenge. And thank God we only have 4 houses that are representative of design that does not match the original integrity of the neighborhood. And so with that, I cannot support this change of use with this type of design and this type of lot layout. Currently, this is proposed on 50-foot lots. Typically, the minimum lot size at Heritage Greens has been 55 feet. We've had a 55-foot lot out there for 12 years, and to now change to single family to go down to a 50-foot lot for single family, to me, does not make sense. And with that, I cannot support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Todd Erickson, engineer for the applicant. The one thing that I'd like to point out too is that we're actually here for a land use change, just to understand that here before that. I mean, this is the concept that we're looking at. It works very well with the in-place utilities. That's one of the reasons we actually went with this design. The utilities can come right off of Ivy Green, come right down here. Changing this to any other type of even twin homes would require tearing up sidewalks all the way through and destroying kind of the character and the parking accessibility for the senior housing and for the parking availability for the park area. So the whole thought behind bringing in private drives was to be able to rear load the units and keeping very much with the character of the subdivision. This exact use is found up on Friends Keep, and it's the exact lot use, the lot width up on Friends Keep. I know a couple of people here tonight from Creative actually have built on those 50-foot wide lots and built a very nice home, and that's basically the impetus for this design. So to bring, and it's a very, very functional use. Creates a private drive and screen, which allows some screening back from the senior housing. Provides a buffer from the single family to a higher density and higher density yet, for the twin homes and for the senior housing, for the product that he was just approved last year and is actually now nearing completion. This is an area here that the idea is to step the density down. Or step the density out back to the higher density to the back. So again, buffering that single family from the higher density areas as well. So the product that, there's some concerns about the builder not conforming to requirements, and I've had assurances from him that, times are a little bit different during the recession and everything else, and he went through some hard times as well, along with every other company, small company. He is 100% behind following every rule to get this project done, and he wants to conform to the association's requirements and to work with the association and to provide a good product. I've taken a couple of photos associated with this is the type of product that actually would go in on this. So it's a front loaded. So you actually have front access to the sidewalk surrounding the property. And that's a 40-foot wide home. And you end up having so you end up with a nice product, and you've got some creativity too with some of the corner lots. You can expand it out. It doesn't have to be all cookie cutter either. So I think I've kind of represented that on lot 23 to lot 24. They're a little bit fatter, little wider, a little bit different homes that could potentially go there. So they all wouldn't have to necessarily be a cookie cutter type home. So, and it does, to me, it feels like, you know, when you're driving, I mean, it feels like a real small town atmosphere with that front porch out where you're walking out to the sidewalk and accessing it that way. Keeps the character, keeps all the parking in place. Real easy to access the utilities and bring utilities down through without having to disrupt the surrounding road sections. So that's really, so there is some thought put into this design. Anything else, if you put in twin homes through here or single family homes, you're tearing up existing roads. You're gonna have to extend out sewer down, and then you're removing parking that was actually afforded for the senior housing and for the park area. So this keeps everything else in place, allows the homes to go in, you know, and you know, association dues and everything else, that would all be worked out. I would get a good estimate for the future maintenance of that road. We could work with that sub-association. The sub-association would actually have 26 units associated with it, so that's a pretty substantial number. There's many subdivisions in the Twin Cities that have 26 homeowners, you know, that number for associations. So that's a good number. I mean, if it's down around 12, 13 or so, then it usually is a little bit more problematic. But once you get up to 26, you usually have one or two people that are hard charging that will keep the thing going and direct it. So I guess with that, I can open up for any questions at all. But, you know, I guess I reiterate, I mean, it's really about land use. And I've heard from you, the people that are complaining in the audience, that they don't discourage single family here, is what I'm hearing. And that's really what we're discussing. It's not necessarily about who the builder is, what his past has been. I mean, he's righted his wrongs, and he's more than willing to work with this and provide a good product in this location. I guess
And we're in the public hearing. We'll delay discussion until after the public hearing closes.
Anybody else?
My name is Ed Hendricks. I'm a Hudson resident. I spent almost 20 years at Best Buy and recently became partners with Overing Homes. Took over as president and COO. So I hear the concerns, and I appreciate the concerns, and some of them are probably legit. I'll be the first one to admit that you know, some of those things that were mentioned probably did happen, but not on my watch. And you know, going forward, obviously, expectations are very different now than what they used to be. And you know, I think one of the things I learned when I left Best Buy, I started buying and selling a lot of properties, and I started flipping properties. And the first thing I realized is that everybody's interested. Everybody's interested in what you're doing. And so the number one goal was, you got to be a friend of the community. And that's the neighbors, the townships. I haven't done any work in the city. All of mine have been in the townships, but anybody that knows any of the work I've done would attest that I've been a friend of the community. All the neighbors that have concerns, they all get addressed. So that's all I can say is I understand some of those issues probably did happen in the past, but they're in the past. They're not concerns going forward. The only other thing that I would say is that 3 of the folks that actually did speak, I would say also have a conflict of interest in the matter. So I'm not sure that it's fair that they even speak on the matter, but I guess that's neither here nor there. So thanks for your time.
Excuse me, can you repeat what your role is with the company again? I missed that.
President and COO, so I oversee all construction.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jody Hawk, and I'm a resident at Heritage Greens. I've lived there over 10 years now, so I'm one of the original families. I've also sat on the Single Family Board of Directors and have been a member of the ARC since it's probably been 5 or 6 years. So I have some concerns, and I'm sorry I'm a little late to the meeting. I understand you've heard some of those as it relates to our experience working with Overing Homes in our neighborhood as a member of the ARC. It has been extremely difficult, so we were hoping to not have to revisit that again. A few things that I also wanted to talk about is that as a member of the ARC and also the Single Family Board, we did not receive any of these plans ahead of time. The only way we heard about this was through the city planning notice, and otherwise other builders that we've worked with historically in Heritage Greens have had brought the neighbors together, invited them in, showed them the plans, got the neighborhood feedback, discussed it in depth. We had a lot of input into working with those builders as it relates to these larger scope areas. And I just have to say, in this scenario, it feels very similar to what has happened with Overing in the past with the ARC committee, where we weren't even informed ahead of time or brought in on the process. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name is Mike Murphy, and I've lived in Heritage Greens at 75 Tribute since June. And I moved into the community from Ellsworth. And I lived in a community in Ellsworth that had covenants, but they weren't followed. After a few years with the downturn in the economy, the city allowed different builders to come in and put up some cookie cutter houses, and it really affected the value of the houses in Ellsworth. And when we decided to move to Hudson, we chose Heritage Greens because we didn't want that to happen again. So I guess my biggest concern as a homeowner, and I am on the board as well, is that with the past of Overing, can we trust them? And is that going to affect the homeowners and their values? So I guess that's my biggest concern.
Thank you. Anyone else? Jamie, Nick? Anyone else? Anyone else? All right, so we close the public hearing.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All right, so we move to second to close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing's closed. What's your pleasure? Do you want
Now, what I initiated discussions with Overing Homes in regards to a possible amendment to the planned residential development conditional use permit. One of the issues I expressed concern is a very limited amount of multiple family residential property in the city of Hudson. This is one of the few areas that we still have that possibility. I'm not necessarily opposed to the 1-2 family residential, but I think Plan Commission and Common Council has to understand that if they do amend the master plan for the development, then we basically are out of multiple family property in the city of Hudson until annexation occurs, upon which part of that may, if it fits into the comprehensive plan, then where that land would be available for multiple families. So that's one concern. Typically, we didn't get a lot of the letters of concern sent until the day. I think I've received 16 or 17 different letters from residents of Heritage Greens. I see 2 paths with the possible consideration of this. One is a denial based on the fact that the multiple family designations that currently exist are of value to the city. Secondly, if you want to have more time to deliberate, one of the things I know the last time in 2008 when we had a very lengthy conversation on the Heritage Market Amendment that incorporated multiple family commercial mixture into that south area. I know there was meetings with the homeowners associations and the developers to try to come to some kind of agreement on a plan and then bring it back to the city for consideration at that time. So I don't know if the homeowners association would be open to that. I don't know if Overing Homes would be open to that conversation. But that'd be one of two paths I would suggest you consider taking.
I've got a couple comments. I've, compliments to the neighborhoods up there for, I've been around a while, and this is the first time I received that many emails in regards to that single issue. So compliments for being active in your community. It shows you guys do care up there, and it's nice. My problem is, it's like we're trying to put a square peg in a round hole. If I look at these pictures of the development of Overing that you guys all see, that don't look like this. And I would be kind of disturbed if I lived up there and that was what was trying to come in there. I heard the concerns, but also knowing our comprehensive plan since I've been around for 10 years and knowing that this is one or the last part of multiple family dwelling, I am opposed to this amendment to this particular parcel. So I'll be voting no, or at least starting it.
So is that a motion?
That is a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Motion and second to
Deny.
deny the request. Okay. Further discussion?
I feel the same way. I can't support it. The private drive concept, every time I've seen it applied in housing, especially in new urbanism, it's an alley. That the front of the houses would be to the street. The private drive is an alley to the garages facing off the back, but all the architectural detailing would remain on the other side. I don't see that in this kind of a layout or setting to a plan here, and I don't think it would carry well with the rest of the neighborhood, let alone the issue of the fact that we don't have enough multifamily left in town. I couldn't support it changing.
Anything else? No? Hearing no more conversation, discussion, all those in favor of the motion to deny, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion is approved.
This recommendation would go to the common council on June 6th, so it would be heard again at the common council.
All right, thank you, everybody. Next item, discussion and possible action on request for rezoning 916 12th Street and 1000 12th Street from R1, one family residential district, to public, or to PUB, public, quasi-public district, and amend 2009 City of Hudson Comprehensive Plan from single and two-family residential to institutional. John Brienne Cook and William Sally Friedlander. Anyone here?
Here for the school district. I'm just here to answer any questions the commission may have as it relates to this purchase by the school district. This has already gone to a meeting of the electorate that we're required to do anytime we purchase property or sell property in the district. And so we're just hoping to get this rezoned so we can make this part of the high school site.
Okay.
And this property is located just off the northwest part of the high school parcel. It's located just east of 12th Street and south of Oak Street. There's two owners, the Cooks and the Freelanders are both petitioning in behalf of the school district. They are the current owners. They are petitioning. I'm recommending approval.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second for approval. Discussion, Frank?
What, at what point is something, I mean, you said that that's part of the plan that you have. To do what with that? For expansion or what?
Well, you know, part of the referendum projects has us adding on to the high school.
That was, yeah.
And this didn't really have anything to do with the referendum. We would have purchased this or pursued this if the referendum wouldn't have passed. Just because we have an urban site type of high school, that being able to expand our footprint, you know, always looking for those opportunities. But because we will be adding onto the building that site, what it does, it gives us additional green space to be able to add to that site. So we don't have any plans as of right now to build anything on it, or, you know, we haven't gotten that far along. So we were going to referendum regardless if we got this, and we were pursuing this regardless if we passed the referendum. If that may, so they're kind of somewhat in isolation, but if this gets rezoned and we can use it, then it may allow us a little bit more breathing room on that high school site. We wouldn't be putting the building up on it or anything like that. I mean, it's quite a ways away from the building.
So it would be maintained as green space, that's your plan?
It could. It could also be used to help stormwater mitigation. It could be used for practice fields. You know, a variety of different uses. It just, that part of the plan hasn't been finalized yet. We just hired an architect yesterday.
At what point would you anticipate actually doing something with that?
It will, I mean, before we'd actually have to change it or do anything, at least a year before we'd have to do anything. But we can't move forward with our plans unless we know if we can use that property or not.
At the point that we rezone that, would that come off the tax rolls?
Correct. January 1st of next year it would.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
So next steps, just so I'm aware, would be,
Goes to public hearing to Common Council on Monday, June 20th at 6:55.
okay. And then they'll make a final decision then, is that right?
Well, there's a possibility of the ordinance for rezoning, public hearing be held. Common Council has a prerogative where to have first reading on his zoning ordinance, or to have first reading and then delay it for 2 weeks, have second reading, pass it, or deny it on the second meeting or first meeting in July. Or the other option would be is on June 20th, after the public hearing, they could consider, suspend the rules, and have first reading and adopt it that evening. So,
Okay.
most likely the decision would be made either June 20th or the first meeting in July.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
Nick. Yep. Thanks, Jamie. Thanks. Item 5, discussion and possible action on certified survey map, 2 commercial lots, 181 and 201 Carmichael Road, west of Carmichael Road, Hanson Brothers.
What's being requested is two lots being created. The reason this subdivision is required because they're dedicating street right-of-way on the west side. This is that street that the Planning Commission wanted to extend west of the clubhouse area. I think that review was done about 1.5 years ago. So this is the right-of-way that would provide the possibility of that street. City staff's reviewing plans and specifications for the construction of the street. Again, the upper parcel is the parcel for the former clubhouse banquet center, and the southern parcel, Lot 2, is the proposed location of the Holiday Inn Express. Recommend approval of the certified survey map. We'll have to check on what existing letters of credit are on file with the city from the Hanson brothers in regards to some of this previously. However, we do need to have a letter of credit equal if they want to file the certified survey map before the street is completed. They will need to file a letter of credit of 120%. Now, not necessarily a letter of credit, but surety. State statutes have recently changed. Surety 120% covers streets, utilities, boulevards, and so forth. So we'll have to review what's on hand, but that'd be a condition of approval.
Denny, some time back, didn't we split this into 3 lots up there?
The other lot is the north of the existing clubhouse. It's not shown on this.
So
It's currently 2 lots, but they're squared off There's,
Oh, I
you
see.
kind of see underneath the square, there's two rectangle lots. What we're doing is modifying the lot line to accommodate the existing clubhouse here, accommodate the potential development that's on your next agenda item. And then we've also added some more land as well to accommodate some parking and green space, so. So it is already two lots, it's just modifying the lot lines to accommodate potential development.
Move to approve.
Second. Motion to approve is second. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Thank you. Item 6, discussion and possible action on final development plans, Holiday Inn Express and Suites, 100-unit hotel, 181 Carmichael Road, and Banquet Hospitality Center, 201 Carmichael Road, the former golf course clubhouse, west of Carmichael Road, LHR Hospitality, Beverly.
So, existing lot right now is, here's the clubhouse, and here's the parking lot. And so that's what we're looking at is, it's around, so we're all looking the same way. What we're looking at is right next to the existing clubhouse, and Culver's is right over here, to add in the Holiday Inn Express Hotel, which would be 100 rooms in that area. They would utilize the existing parking for both facilities as a cross easement, as well as add parking down and around the back. They do want to keep that existing patio, of course, at the clubhouse, and at some point, these two will work together. We are in the process of, right now, there's a trunk sanitary sewer that cuts right through the middle of the building and continues down. So we do have plans in to have that trunk sanitary sewer realigned to follow the new right-of-way. And this also fits in with the roundabout that's being proposed then as the MI Homes development. Let's see, what else? Is there specific questions or comments that?
Yeah, city staff, as we're still under some of the engineering review, the city engineer has expressed one very strong concern and then a lesser concern on the two accesses. The access on the south side, he's both engineer from SEH. Their concern is there's not an ideal location for that access. And first, when this roadway on the south side is initially going to be built, it'll be built as a single lane. But when the signalized intersection goes in, where that's due to development on the east side of the Carmichael Road, or whether it's ultimately when the signalized intersection would be built in conjunction with exit 2 reconstruction, on northbound, there'd be 2 left turns potentially going in on that road. And the concern is in that short distance from Carmichael to that access, you're gonna have weaving, and that's a potential safety consideration. And then as the road goes further west, it nicks down to one road, so again, you have converging traffic. So the engineers have recommended to me not to have any access there, to require them to go up to the east access and then into the site. I did talk with developers where they may be open to discussions with the city in regards to access being allowed there, as long as there's only a 1-lane street. Upon construction of 2 lanes, then the city would reevaluate it for safety consideration. But the engineers are still recommending strongly that we shouldn't even be doing that. There is, for southbound traffic, you do have the right in at the northeast corner of the site. The other one, there you go, thank you. Northeast corner of the site, so that's one option. From the engineering standpoint, they just think there's the potential for that weaving. And the second consideration is with the right, these cars are entering, they enter into the site where they get slowed down, then all of a sudden you have stacking of cars, and which one would block the traffic going further west. So, I mean, they have a real strong opinion that that access should not be there.
Tell me your definition of weaving.
Weaving, okay, if you have, okay, here's the example. You go down to McDonald's, okay, they have that right-in only at McDonald's. When you're coming north on Carmichael, you have the stoplight, you have 2 left turns, okay? Both cars can turn left, but will that car that's on the inside turning left want to weave over one lane and get into McDonald's? This is a similar situation that they're concerned about. There, you've got 2 lanes that go straight. Here, you're gonna have 2 lanes that neck down to 1 lane going into the roundabout. So you not only have the possible weaving, but that convergence, that's a concern from the engineers.
And it wouldn't be any better to move it down to the west.
Well, there's really not a lot of room, and, I mean, this is a difficult design site. One in part because, you know, where the existing parking is on the site, but you go much farther west, and where the hotel's being proposed, you start dropping off considerably, and they're raising that rolled up there's almost 14 feet of fill to get that rolled up, so there's not as much, am I correct? It's approximately that, correct?
Yeah.
And, you know, they're raising the rolled up to reduce the difference of elevation between the hotel, the parking, and the roadway. Now, our city engineer also has concerns on the slope. Even though it's 6.7, our driveway, you know, we're allowed up to 8%. His concern is that, you know, you come down and you don't have generally what you design, you try to bring it down and have a little bit of a landing before you go into the public street area. Here, there's very limited landing, and that's why he's expressing concerns. But the bigger of the 2 concerns is definitely the south access.
Because as a hotel, I can guarantee you they want as easy as access, in any business, as easy access as possible.
We certainly understand that.
So you're saying nothing to the west more would work either?
Well,
Because then you're encroaching on the roundabout?
I just don't know if it fits in their current design, and once you're necking down into that roundabout, if they want to sit down, if they want to bring in a traffic engineer and sit down with us and discuss the options of how this could work, we're open to that. We certainly are open to it, but, you know, I've got to express the concerns of our city staff. Sure. That's my job, so, certainly, I mean, they wouldn't be expressing it. I mean, if their concerns weren't what they felt were legitimate, so.
Yeah.
The entrance on the north end before you get to the 18th hole at your current north end, is there any ability to increase the size of that to take on more traffic, with that being the main entrance instead of an ancillary?
Well, you're going to easily handle the southbound traffic, I think, off of that entrance. You know, the issue is going to be the north, because we can't, you know, currently the reason that has been limited to right-in only is because there's the hill right there, and there's limited vision. And so we did not want left turns coming off Carmichael into that entrance when the golf course clubhouse was initially built. That's the reason it was limited to right-in only, right-in, right-out only.
I don't remember that.
Well, I do.
Okay.
No.
That would be our concern, is people, of course, want to get to the front door of Holiday Inn, or any hotel, but they want to get to the front door. So our concern is, first of all, that if they have to go all the way around, they're going to short circuit it, U-turn in and come in. They're going to try to get to the front. The second thing is having multiple access points. This way, I'm just thinking, as far as, we want to give them options of how to get in here. And having just a slip ramp, a right in, people can just go right directly in. As Danny said, this is a single lane roundabout. So to have 2 lanes all of a sudden come down to the 1, I don't foresee that the 2 lanes, you have your 130 homes, but we have 2 other access points off of Ward and off of, by Applebee's basically. There'll be other places coming here, so to have 2 lanes coming into this, I don't, into a single roundabout, I guess I'm not sure that that is going to develop in that manner. And just from a emergency vehicle access standpoint, having multiple access points is preferred. That's our thought is, you know, and if I'm wrong, if development happens that you need a dual left into there, then we can look at, you know, cutting that off, or maybe at that time, maybe this intersection is improved.
Denny, the engineer, would prefer nothing there or just a left turn in? Excuse me, right
He
turn.
wants nothing.
They don't want any access there.
Nothing?
So then we're sending
They're-
people all the
what
way
they're-
down
What
and
they're
around.
saying, they think that we're just inviting trouble by having the access there.
And I want people racing through the parking lot to get there. So that's just internal thought. The other thing is, you know, as Denny said, the access back here is 6.7%. We can make it 8 and have a flat spot if need be, but I just think a nice uniform in, instead of having too much of a grade difference where we can bottom out. So that's why we just brought the 6% all the way out to the curb line. So on the ordinance is 8% driveway. I think there's examples, I'm just thinking Perkins and even the post office have to be
Is the,
quite steep.
can you show me where the existing parking is right now?
Right now, it goes out to about here. Is that what you're asking?
For the clubhouse?
Yep, for the clubhouse, right now, the parking lot extends out to about this point, and then that other parking lot kind of angles off. So we're cutting off basically about 3 rows, 3 stalls. So there was kind of the back stall and then a center stall in here, so.
Is it not parking right now all the way up to the entrance? Right there?
Correct.
That whole thing is parking?
Right now, this whole thing is parking, yes. There's.
No, in front of the
All the
clubhouse.
way, all the way up
Oh.
to the inlet?
Yeah.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
You have that existing if you want. Do you want to show an architectural side of things? I don't.
Project that's proposed is a 5-story structure, and this is kind of the color scheme that's being sought. It's a hardy panel siding up above at the main entrance, and then also on the back of the building, we'll have some natural or manufactured stone veneer, like a cultured stone, on where the foundation would be exposed on the west side as well. We put a ephes finish on that, matching the same color scheme. And once again, I mentioned, it is a 100 unit hotel. We'll have a pool and spa and fitness area, and then also intended to act, you know, in concert with the reopening of the event center, the existing clubhouse. There's no restaurant within the hotel itself.
You probably,
Anything-
go ahead.
Is anything changing with the existing clubhouse?
Not to the physical structure, footprint, no.
Or the outside or anything, or?
Perhaps.
But potentially, the outside may have a couple modifications to it so that it matches the blends with the hotel. It would simply be curb appeal.
But the parking access, the traffic access in front is going to stay as is. That's your plan?
once again, I guess I'd like to reiterate, we'd really like to be able to have that access on the south, and at some point, if this road was determined that you needed 2 lanes and 2 lanes turning left, if it could be reevaluated at that time, but, to create such a circuitous traffic pattern within the lot just to access it. This one, it's nice having that access there, but right in, right only, doesn't really serve anyone coming from the interstate. So having that capability to come in and access the parking lot and the front door would be a benefit to the project. And just having the multiple access points as well to relieve congestion within the site.
But you're looking at driver's side access to the office of a vehicle. You're looking to come in from the south.
Yep.
And come in where driver's side access to the, when you pull up to the lobby, you're looking to, what you're hoping for is to come in.
Come in and swing through here and up
Okay.
through the drive under canopy.
Pat?
Denny, have we had a history of many accidents happening with people weaving, trying to get into the McDonald's? Has that been an issue over the history of that?
Not that I'm aware of. Again, that's 2 lanes that
Yeah.
extend.
Yeah.
What's going, are you, the space between the 2 buildings, and are you doing any design to the existing clubhouse?
Not
To
at this
match?
time. We're trying to maintain and enhance the existing patio here. There will be an exit door from the stairwell of the hotel that will exit at that patio level.
So just kind of an open
Yeah. Open
area?
patio, plaza area.
Plaza.
That stairway from the bag drop area
Yeah,
that
yeah.
goes down?
That's gonna stay?
It's right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to allow easier access to the clubhouse.
What are you looking for some action
Well,
for you to
we're
have?
trying to move this project along within reason. I mean, we still got some issues with the engineer on.
I don't want to hold it up, but I want you want another meeting to try to work out that entrance, or
Well,
have you done that enough? It just,
I,
no.
we're reluctant, we've been reluctant to have a lot of conditions on approvals that go to the common council, just simply because it's easier for the council to make a decision. If they want to hire an engineer and tell us that, what our concerns aren't legitimate, we're more than willing to listen to that. But as of today, we'd be recommending approval contingent on final engineering review without the access.
What, not that it's your choice, but what, do you guys have any thoughts to that?
I do. I would say, the plan isn't really in place in what's going to happen with that intersection long term, correct?
Correct.
And so, I would
You
say.
can go up to the microphone, I'm sorry, Doug,
Sorry.
please.
Dr. Brody, Hudson, I would ask that you put a temporary in place on the access, approving the access. And if it becomes a problem and down the road, on the future changes that happen at that intersection, obviously, as we do not want to incubate a situation where it's unsafe for traffic. And as those changes come down the road, you certainly have the right to take it away then. But it would certainly be a huge benefit, and I believe would actually help move traffic in and out of this rather than send people around, have them confused. They're going to cut corners, as Angela had said, I believe on Carmichael, and try to turn into those lanes to get quicker access, which again, I'm not sure is not causing a more, as dangerous or more dangerous situation than the south access.
Frank?
Has a traffic study been done on this, or an engineer looked at this access? Have you had an engineer look at your plans for what you're proposing?
Well, we haven't done a traffic study on it
Okay.
by any means, but,
Microphone?
oh, sorry. No, a traffic study has not been done on this site as far as the movements, but that's where we would need then the traffic study of what's planned at that formal intersection to then look at what's going to happen on this specific site. My biggest concern just is having a single access off that west side and having people skirt around or, you know, drive through the parking lot to get to the front door. And I just think they're going to race through from the back side of the building to the front side of the building, and that's going to cause a problem. So that's why I'm just looking at the right in at this time.
I don't necessarily agree with you, Angela, because in a hotel, you're not seeing a lot of racing going on in parking lots, and you're also, I think we should, in regards to the weaving issue and getting in there, if you're gonna have buses coming in and out of tour groups and sports teams, that weaving might get even worse with that entrance there, especially if it's developed as it seems to be gonna be developing. But don't get me wrong,
No, I'm just looking at a single lane roundabout. To have 200 feet of double lane going into a single lane roundabout is not, from a traffic standpoint, is not advantageous just even from a street design. So I don't foresee that from the traffic perspective, that's even going to happen. That's what I'm just wondering is why you would need a dual left coming into a single lane roundabout, just even in the future. And that's where I'm saying then this access point should be considered.
And I guess, not to belabor the
No, that's
point,
right.
but, I mean, we're talking about the hotel here. We don't know what's gonna happen with the clubhouse as that turns into something. That traffic for what is now the clubhouse will be coming through that same area. It's could be a lot of traffic through there as the only access.
wasn't it, weren't you purchasing the clubhouse too?
Yeah, that's part of this is being
Yeah.
the
320, well, they
convention
described
center.
it as a 320-seat banquet center.
Event
So
center.
that's what you're looking at, wedding events and,
You put an event in there plus the regular traffic, and I'm just wondering,
I think there's a lot of ways to get out, though.
the what?
The getting out, I don't think is the problem as much as it's really, is there gonna be two lefts off of Carmichael to get into the neighborhood?
That's the potential. When city and DOT looked at the reconstruction, this intersection was at least tentatively designed to be two left turns.
Into that small roundabout, though. Then that means that roundabout past there, west of that intersection, should be a two-lane roundabout, not a one-lane.
Well, the
Because
two
where's all the
lane,
cars gonna go? If there's that many, if there's two lefts going there,
the two lanes is just as important on the amount of cars stacking that's gonna turn left. So you get the capacity to stack the cars heading north, not just the left turn.
okay.
Okay.
So it'd be like
No, I
it is
mean,
now, where you
there-
could go left or go straight.
There could be a finding that there's not a need for two left turns, but the way the tentative design is, that's what it is. And that's where our engineers are basing their position.
they couldn't bump in a turn lane there?
Well, that's something that potential, I mean, we're more, if they want to bring in a consulting traffic engineer, sit down with us and try to work this out, we're open to it.
I would just add one more thing. traffic patterns and the times that those happen, and when there would be, and I know we're talking about the hotel, but as we're having discussions on the clubhouse as well, the traffic that's going to be coming in there that would be more at one time would be around a specific event, and let's say that's on a Saturday night. That is, I would say that based on, let's take a wedding for example, based on traffic movements of where those people would be coming from, that traffic is probably going to be split 50-50, coming from the north and the south. So there's going to be a lot of people accessing the north off of Carmichael coming in, just as they would coming northbound to go into the south entrance. And as with the hotel traffic, there's, generally people are arriving at night, it's not rush hour time. So I think that as far as traffic is concerned with this development, that it is spread out a lot more than what you'd really realize. And I understand you're asking for, potentially a traffic study, Denny. Again, the long-term intersection may happen as the plans on that may not come together until 2025, may happen much sooner. But if there was a temporary access granted, that if that became a problem at any time during that process, it could be changed and taken away. But it would be a shame to the development if it wasn't a problem and there was a single left lane turn and there was never, issues with access to that point. It would be, it'd be too bad to have lost 9 years of no issues when we don't know if there's an issue. That's a good point.
Doug, you don't think most of the traffic's going to come from the freeway?
For the hotel?
For events?
For events, I think you're going to have just as many that are going to come from, that are going to be southbound.
Well, I think you're drawing from Minnesota. I think you're drawing from I firmly believe that most of that traffic is going to come from the freeway. But are we redoing Carmichael anytime soon? Is that scheduled?
Well, last time we talked to the state, that was possibly not out till 2025. Unless they put a priority on the project and move it up, so. But there's really no specific date. They just told us they thought it might be as late as 2025.
Yeah.
What's wrong with approving the south entrance and retaining the ability to take it away if it's a problem?
Yeah.
Well,
isn't that kind of the best of both?
I'd like to have an agreement with them where they sign that. So
I mean, that would be the best protection for our concern, that it becomes a two left lane or two left turn into there, that it becomes a weaving issue and is unsafe. We have the ability to take that away. If it's not a problem, it didn't need to get fixed. And the south entrance is there.
What is the reason why we are not thinking about having another entrance right off of Carmichael, going directly into the parking lot?
Just access control. I mean, you can't, we're trying to, on Carmichael, we're trying to get away from these driveways being every 150 or 200 feet. I mean, we're trying to control the access in these intersections. So they got her southbound, they got her right into it. I mean, if somebody misses that, they come down and turn right. It's the left turns that's a potential concern. Plus the distance between Carmichael and that access, if it's a little bit longer, it might help, but this is really a tough site for design.
Yeah.
I would agree with Pat though, if we can get it in legal terms and a signature and agreement,
Yeah.
I'd be willing to take that.
So I'd make that a motion, that we approve it as long as the city and the developer can come to a legally binding agreement that should it become a problem in the future, that the developer agrees to give up their right to have that entrance. If it becomes a safety issue. Yeah.
I guess I still would like to see a traffic study done, but.
Well, I'm not necessarily asking for a full traffic analysis. What I'm asking for is somebody, a traffic expert to take a look at that, what we're concerned about and where they agree if our concerns or not.
Right, I agree. I don't think it has to be a full traffic study, but I would certainly like to see somebody take a look at that.
But that would be,
Go ahead, somebody.
Go ahead.
but that would be an expense on behalf of the developer, right? Not on behalf of the city.
Correct.
Listen, Angela, don't you have someone in your firm that could take a look at that? Or you know someone?
Depends on how in-depth you want it to be. I mean, if it is a full traffic
I just think we
study,
need
it
a
will
counterpoint
be-
to our engineer so we can make a pretty healthy decision here.
We could get some, I mean,
Yeah, but then if it turns out to be a problem, we have the right to take it away.
Well, if their engineer, traffic engineer agrees with us, then we gotta allow that access?
Because I'm concerned also that we grant something that then later turns out to be a problem, then you end up with facing a huge issue then too. I'd almost rather try and figure it out up front.
Well, the problem doesn't exist yet, and we don't know if that's ever gonna be 2 left turns going into there. And that's when it becomes a problem.
But wouldn't somebody who was a specialist at that be able to make a better opinion on it than what we're doing here right now? Somebody that specializes in looking at that. I don't want to create a problem for us, nor do I want to create a problem down the road for you.
well, and that's kind of, to my point, is we have speculation of a double left. We don't have a traffic study at the moment to even work off of to do an internal traffic study. So that's where I don't know, it's also, we're speculating, it depends on who's speculating what, for lack of better words.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would need information.
Jenny, do we, on our Carmichael wish list plan, we have that shown as potential 2 left turn into there, correct?
That was a concept that was
And the concept plan.
agreed between the city and, now that doesn't mean that's the ultimate design.
No, but that
was
is-
the
that-
concept that was
yeah.
agreed.
Is there a traffic study that
Was there a traffic study with
is
that?
part of that?
That,
Or is it kind
Listen,
No, I'm just,
folks, it's very simple here. The traffic professionals here are gonna agree with them, but they're gonna agree with the city, and it shouldn't take that long to do.
Yeah.
So I don't know why we're even arguing that point.
All right, we got a motion right now that does not have a second.
I'll second it, see where it goes.
Could you repeat the motion?
that we approve the south entrance to their parking lot with a legally binding agreement between the city and the developer, that should that become a safety issue, that the city can rescind the right to have that south entrance. So if it's a problem, we can take it away. If it's not a problem, it just goes on.
And Randy, you seconded it.
Yeah, so, go ahead.
And, you know, I have no problem with saying as part of that, coming to that agreement, is that we have a traffic engineer, you know, as part of that discussion with you, to convince the city staff, no different than consulting with an attorney.
Then why wouldn't we have that done up front?
Is that, are you amending your motion?
No, but
All right, so we've got a motion in front of us. If this fails, we can entertain the motion then to do the traffic study. Right? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye, nay.
Wow.
And
I'm voting no as well. I think we should have the traffic study. Entertain a motion?
Yes.
Yes, I'll second that, but what are the
No,
parameters?
I'm entertaining a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were making the motion. I make a motion that we request a traffic study, but Danny, I rely on you on what the parameters of that study are. I mean, you could do a small study, a huge study. I mean, You know, so what do you think?
What we
that-
ought to focus on is the safety of that as a
Right.
one lane, right turn only, looking at the distance between Carmichael, what issues may come up of that being there.
Yes.
And, you know, if they, I mean.
And then,
well,
based
you
on
know,
that information, we'll make a decision.
Correct.
So-
But are you,
That's my motion.
Well, second.
now, is the motion only for the study?
Can we?
My motion is just for a study.
Okay, so which would mean that we would have to, so let me ask this, is there a second then?
Do we need, do we need to vote on that for a study? Or,
Well, yeah, I think so.
okay,
Sure.
then I'll second.
Yeah, because it's got to go to the council.
Okay.
So is there anything else then, I mean, I don't want to slow this process down other than that issue. Is there anything else that we need to resolve here tonight? Is that,
So, well, I mean,
So it's still-
right now, you need to make or you gotta make a motion to recommend to the council approval of the development plan.
right, okay.
Contingent on.
Because I don't want that being held up by this,
Agreed,
okay?
agreed.
That information from the traffic analysis will go directly to the council, not back to here.
Okay.
Alright.
So this is the first motion, the second one then would be approval of the plan contingent upon everything else coming back.
And
with
also
the-
what Pat included was the agreement.
Mhm.
And I agree with that.
That we have the agreement with him then.
Right, okay. Okay, further discussion?
All right, quick question, Danny. So that means we won't hear what the results of the traffic study were? It'll go directly to city council for approval or not approval?
Well, I can provide you the information, but won't come back here if we're trying to keep this moving.
No, I appreciate that. I'm just asking for clarity.
You can call me.
I'll call you, Randy.
All right,
All right.
further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Motion,
I'll move that we recommend approval contingent on traffic study and legal documentation regarding that south entrance.
okay.
Does that work?
Second.
Is that?
Yeah, I'll second it, yeah.
Is there any mini golf included in this?
With a windmill?
Anything, I just want golf.
So anything that was just put on the table, that still allows us to be at common council on the 6th of June, correct?
Well, two things. One is if the traffic analysis or traffic review of the professional engineer is done, that would be presented at the council meeting. If it's not, the council would have to take action contingent on the two items.
Okay. So we have a motion? Second? All right, further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you all. Appreciate that. And any other business?
I have one, and I don't know if for upcoming agenda, I would like to, and Denny, tell me if I'm in the wrong place to start this conversation, but widening the 11th Street Bridge.
The what of
The
11th
11th
Street?
Street Bridge, adding on to the bridge deck.
That's a conversation we'd have to have with the Wisconsin Department of Transportation, so.
So how would we start that?
Well, I imagine the council could authorize the mayor to write a letter or make a request to the DOT to, or myself, or Tom Zooey, Public Works Director, to
Okay.
initiate that discussion.
Would you want it out of a committee?
Yeah,
request?
it'd be best to have it out of committee.
Okay.
Yeah. We can put it on a future agenda.
Okay.
Now, their issue we need to resolve is what night of the week we're gonna meet. That
Right.
still is an unresolved issue, and I haven't scheduled any, it doesn't need to be decided tonight, but we need to make that decision, because, I gotta set up calendars for future months, and,
So Thursdays are off the table?
correct.
I mean, all year round?
Well, unless there's a special meeting and that's the only night we can meet, And I know Mary Claire cannot attend, and Fred was very concerned about, Mary Claire cannot attend on Wednesday. Fred said he would not be available.
And Wednesdays doesn't work for you either.
Well, Wednesday's the only reason I want Wednesday off, because I potentially work Monday, Tuesday, Thursday.
Oh, right.
nights, Yeah.
Right, so.
And at my age, every day's Sunday, so.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I've been doing
So-
Thursday since I moved to town in 1996, so I don't know anything other than a Thursday.
Doesn't matter, just not Friday night.
Yeah. So Tuesdays, was that a problem for somebody?
No, Tuesday, Mondays and Tuesdays are generally good, of the higher preference for everybody on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Potentially, sometimes I have another committee meeting at 5:30, but
The only issue I've got right now is that the library board meets once a month, currently on Tuesdays. That issue is coming up for discussion as well, but
is that the first and third week of the month?
it's usually the third.
Now, with Plan Commission, you could have, well, typically it's first and third, you'd follow the night after the council meeting, which gives us almost 2 weeks before the next council meeting, which is fine, because it gives me more time. Otherwise, it's 5 days, which that's not an issue, but it'd be a week, 8 days after the common council meeting typically.
I mean, what do you need? I mean, because you need the time frame
No,
to get ready.
yeah, I mean, having the rest of the week, if the meeting's on Tuesday and I have the rest of the week to get the reports ready for the council, that's not an issue.
That works.
I mean, it used to be Thursday night, I had to get the council packets ready Friday morning
That's hard.
by 10 o'clock, and then,
Yeah, you can't do that.
but see, that's, that,
Right.
I'm in here either here at 2 o'clock in the morning or back
Right.
in at 5:30 in the morning.
Right, okay, well, we don't want you to do that.
We don't want you grouchy.
It's cool to be grouchy. I'm just mean. Well,
All right, so.
We're at
Pick one.
Tuesdays? I don't know about Fred, but,
well, Fred is fine on Tuesday.
okay.
So it's Tuesdays now.
Kurt was fine on Tuesday.
Sounds like Tuesday.
Okay.
Doesn't matter which, do you want the day after the council meeting or the next Tuesday?
Which do you want?
Yeah, I
It
say
doesn't
you
matter,
pick.
doesn't matter to me.
I prefer the day after, just because if we're
Yeah.
gonna do meetings, just.
Yeah.
And so the only issue I've got is that third Tuesday of the month with the library, but we're meeting, at our next meeting, we're gonna be discussing our schedule, so I can,
So tell them it doesn't work.
exactly.
So at least for May, I'll set them up for the Tuesday after the council meeting.
So which would, and I apologize,
May-
Dan.
or, I'm sorry, June 7th and June 21st.
I will not be available on the 21st.
Thought you were retired, Randy.
This is the last meeting.
I know. Well, a round of applause for Randy. He has great coverage for all these years. Thank you, Randy. It's Claire, C-L-A-I-R-E.
There you go.
A little more ink in that final article would be great. All right, so June 7th, and then I've mentioned I won't be here on the 21st. Okay, so we're still, just for clarity, going with the first and third Tuesday.
Well,
That definitely works for June, because for us, the library meeting is some other day.
Right, okay.
now you take July,
I'm gone
July
all
4th,
July.
Monday, Tuesday's July 5th, that's when the council meeting is.
I've got shows out last time on the road.
Oh, yeah. Really?
Well, we'll just have to make some adjustments and, yeah. So rather than say the first and third Tuesdays, I'd rather just say the Tuesday after the council meeting.
Well, it sounds like you have a majority that are flexible enough to make a day work if we get in a pinch.
Oh, yeah, that's the way it's
Right now, we're
always.
looking at June.
June 7th and June 21st.
Yeah, that's solid right now, so.
Unless 4 of you are gone, and we'll have to
Move to adjourn?
Second?
Okay,
That's quick.
moving second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We stand adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Thank
How
you.
many people we piss off tonight?